What's up, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Yesterday, I spoke about how over the next few months, there's likely going to be a big opportunity in crypto. If you haven't watched that video yet, I recommend watching it as I talk about my thesis for altcoins, how I'm playing the next few months. But what I wanted to do today as a follow-up from that video is dive much deeper into the technical side of the market. So what are the actual realistic buy scenarios for Bitcoin, Ethereum, and altcoins based on what the charts are telling us right now? And who better to come on the show than Paradise, who's an amazing trader who's been working with me for a long time and has an amazing track record to actually come on and give you some of the exact setups, entries, and his technical forecast for the market over the coming weeks. Paradise, welcome back to the show.
Thanks, Miles. Cheers for having me.
Looking forward to diving into the markets today. I mean, why not just get straight in and take a look at what Bitcoin is currently doing?
Yeah, cool. So I may as well do this as a follow-up to last Thursday's show. We're basically watching price bracket in this range, this value area here. And we were basically looking for this daily / 4-hour imbalance to be filled down if we managed to sweep this low. So we got that. And it was a really nice push down. It actually coincided with Galaxy Digital selling the $9 billion dollars in Bitcoin. So what was good about that is like price only really gave us a 3% move down, and it was absorbed quite well. And we had like Michael Saylor confirm that he wasn't bidding any of it, which is even more of a decent case for upside. But this move was really nice. We came down, we formed a divergence in there. We had a high negative delta, like order flow was supporting the move up. Had a really nice short squeeze, pushed us back inside the range, and it's continued up, and we've just remained rotational. So I caught a long down here around like 115.6 or something. And I rolled a bit of profit off yesterday morning, as we came into the value area high. You can see we had a nice rejection there. And the outlook I was giving the group is we just wanted to see if price is going to have a sell-off to come back into this 4-hour demand cluster here and find some support at the POC, which it pretty much did. I don't love these equal lows that are left behind, but for now, the move up is looking decent. So my thesis for this is just based on the TPO chart, which we don't really need to go over at the moment. But basically, we have these poor highs marked up here. So all I'm looking for at the moment with BTC is a breakout above this level, and we just take out these poor highs here and here. And the thesis was we get above those, and there's not really any resistance up into fresh highs. But for now, we're still remaining rotational. It's a 2-week range, or just over 2 weeks now. And I think, as long as we're holding above the PSE, this big cluster here and demand, I think this makes for an interesting long setup into the highs again. And
what do you think about the fact that when I look at this chart, from a macro perspective, I am seeing lower highs? I mean, technically, there was a higher high 2 days ago. But when I look at the initial move that Bitcoin made to 123, then the next move was 121, then the next move was 120, then the next move was 119. It seems like it's struggling to really break through those levels, and it's actually like getting weaker every single time. Like from a technical perspective, do you see this as a sign of weakness, or do you see this as how are you basically seeing that?
I don't personally. I see it as just consolidation in this range. It's just bracketing between the value area. But you make an interesting point. But the way I like to read market structure is off the line chart. So you can see from market structure perspective, we had a high, the low, the lower high, lower low, so on and so forth. But we actually, the true way to view market structure is the last high before the low that broke market structure, which is this, is the one to break. And we broke that yesterday. So effectively on the line chart, we did close above it. Now we're looking for this to make a high low, which it could be making here. Now that's only confirmed once we close above this level here. So we need to basically do that again. And then that confirms this as a high low.
And if that happens, then that can kind of pave the way for a new all-time high retest potentially.
Yeah, like I said, if we clear out these poor highs up here and we continue to show momentum above them, I just don't see this up here as any form of resistance. And I think we can easily attack these highs and potentially make new highs.
Yeah, I think what was a good sign was the fact that, we had all that Galaxy selling and Bitcoin actually shrugged it off quite quickly. And this is a pretty good trade that you made in the Discord. I think you can see it on the screen. You basically were targeting this as a bull divergence. You posted this when I think Bitcoin was around 115.5. And then, you had a pretty nice trade on that in the group, which was good. So I think you read that really well. And also, if people were on last stream, last Thursday, I believe it was. We gave some pretty good entries. PENGU comes to mind, ENA as well. Tagged this H12 confluence zone, which ended up being a very nice trade, a 32% spot move to the upside. So I think it was a good week in terms of playing that bounce.
Yeah, that ENA one actually ended up being a 65% move for it rejected at the weekly level. So anyone who watched the stream caught that, send me some tips.
What was this SPX scalp you had as well? That's ridiculous.
Not a scalp. It's just when we break out. I can go to my my chart for this.
It's crazy. Oh yeah,
So
it wasn't a scalp. It was back in back a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I took a spot trade as well. So the whole thesis was, we got this $3 round number, round level up here. Also, it's this Bybit wick. I was looking for this to be filled, but once we broke out of that, we had if I go to the 4-hour chart. This range in here, it's just a really simple consolidation range. It's just coiling up into it, compressing into the resistance. We broke out above that. I bought a big amount of spot. I've been compounding that on 4-hour noodle retest on the way up. And at the same time, I just took a perps position. And what you see there is not the full position. I've taken profit a bunch of times on it. So I doubt I'll run that perps position up to $3, but it's definitely where I'm looking to offload the spot. But as it stands, where I took profit last night on the perps position, it's about 10 hours so far. So really nice trade in that. The way I sort of build spot is I'll take it on breakouts, but I like to build spots sort of on noodle retests. And then if we get any sort of breakout of a range high, I generally have a momentum trade on perps to follow it to squeeze extra juice out of the lemon, as we like to say on here.
Yeah, it was a very good trade. And I've been, I think the last time I publicly bought, not the last time, the first time was 50 cents on SPX. And then, so I've been in a spot position for a long time, just like you, obviously taking profits as it's gone up. I think my second entry was like $1.20. So it's been pretty strong. And I think it's, logical that it continues to go up, because I spoke about this on yesterday's video, that these cult communities from these big creators are quite powerful, because as retail comes back into the market, they see these big creators on their feeds, because the algorithm incentivizes and rewards bullishness when people are feeling bullish. So that kind of proliferates these coins, and they end up running really, really high. And then inevitably it is reflective to the other side as well. These coins will crash a lot more than other coins too, because there are a lot of tourists, that position, because they don't have as long to build strong community. Like XRP's built community over many years, Chainlink, Bitcoin, Solana, now Sui's building a big community. Whereas SPX and the like, although they're going to probably be the biggest performers in the bull, they'll also drop a lot more than other coins because of that reflexive nature. But if you guys do want to stay up to date with all of these trades and all of Paradise's setups, of course, link in the description to Mars High Club. I don't think you'll regret joining. It's been a very, very good and fruitful last month in the group. And I think as we head into this next period of the market, it's the perfect place to get up to speed with what's happening and actually, learn to implement a system, because I think what we do well in the group is not just, spoon feed, although you could see, our amazing trades. We also have a big focus on education, and it's allowing a lot of users, as you can see in front of you, to hit some pretty nice consistent profits as well, which I think is the most important thing in the market. It's not hitting a Hail Mary based on a signal. It's also being able to build a system which can consistently make you money over time. But the last thing that I want to mention, actually, before we go into the weekly time frame on Bitcoin and then Ethereum, because Ethereum actually looks a little bit weaker than Bitcoin, but we'll speak about what that means for alts in the short term. I want to remind you that all of the trades that we are taking in the Discord right now, we are actually taking in the trading comp. So BitGet has just announced an amazing $6 million prize pool for their KGCI trading comp. If you are trading at all, even on another exchange, if you just sign up for the trading comp, you can actually get a share of the team's prizes if we do well. So I have a Mars High Club team. If the team does well overall and we rank highly, and I'll keep you updated over the coming days in the Discord and on the YouTube show, you can actually win prizes, even if you're not like a huge trader. And obviously, if you are a good trader, then there's an individual prize pool, which is quite big as well. I think it's over $600,000 in individual incentives alongside $2.4 million in team incentives. So there's massive prizes. This is one of the biggest trading comps they've ever done. So if you do want to get involved and try your luck at trading, but even if you are a trader, just do it over there and actually scoop up some points if our team performs well, then it's pretty much a no-brainer to at least sign up for a team and join along. But I'll be trading there. Our other traders in the Discord will be trading there over the next 14 days. So link in the description below to sign up for the BitGet trading comp. and win some pretty insane prizes. There's also a welcome bonus if you use my link. We also have a $20 airdrop that you can claim as well, which you can obviously use towards your trading. But yeah, without further ado, let's go through this Bitcoin weekly.
Yeah, so down here, this is where I started loading up spot before that big move up. And the thesis is simple. Like, I think in crypto, people are just absolutely too glued to low timeframes. It's 24/7 market. Everyone thinks if you're not zoomed into low timeframes, you're just constantly missing opportunity, which is true in a sense. But at the same time, you really need to be dialed in what's happening in the high time frame. So when I was viewing the weekly back here, we had this big weekly range, and we swept the key lows into this weekly FEG, and that was basically the start of the next move up. Now, once we did that, I think I've been on this a few times on stream with you. We had all these equal highs up here. So my whole thesis was, right, we've taken this downside liquidity, we've filled this inefficiency, now we need a target. What's to the upside? And that was all these equal highs. Sure enough, we did that. We ran it, and then we just absolutely blasted into new all-time high. So what I noticed on the recent weekly close, highest weekly close ever, just by a hair, as you can see. But what it also was we swept the weekly FEG, last week's low into the weekly FEG, same setup. So now that we've done that, maybe we could have tested more of it. But for now, the thesis is with this bullish close and the highest weekly close ever, I'm at least looking for the upside liquidity to be taken again, which is obviously all-time high, the 123K swing high we have here. So that's going to be my thesis on looking for upside in BTC. And, we looked at the smaller low time frame rotational range before, but obviously you're going to have up and down periods within that. But if you just view it from a high time frame bias, I think like the upside looks quite good. If we can come and tag this up here.
And that'll be what we discuss later in the video, especially as we get into Ethereum now, like because it's pretty clear, in my opinion, from a macro point of view, balance of probabilities is we go higher. How can you use these short-term dips like we got last week to actually build strong positions that can hold you in good stead heading towards this next period in the cycle? So that's something we're gonna discuss today as we run through some of the strong alts in the market. But Ethereum, obviously being leader of the alts, is going to have a big say in what happens to altcoins. So what are you seeing on the Ethereum chart?
Same thing I mentioned last week. So this is a weekly resistance here. It's also the 4K level. That 4K level is cap price for pretty much the last time we retested it was 26th of February in 2024. Every time we come up and test that level since, we've had a rejection of it. Now we're coming up to that level, and I just rely on what my system tells me most of the time. We're coming up to that level. We have the daily point of breakdown, aka the supply, before the massive drop down to whatever we got down to, $1,300. Now, right now, we're coming to that level again. We've got bearish divergences on the RSI and the awesome oscillator on the daily time frame. This to me is like enough to warrant caution and maybe pump the brakes a bit. I don't think opening fresh longs before we tag this 4K level is that smart right here. I'd be looking for a dip, or scenario 2 is you want to see some sort of big impulse above it, and you basically chase the trade, continuation above it. So for me personally, I'm looking for like a pullback. I've got 2 scenarios: a deep pullback into like 3,200, a more shallow pullback, which I'll go over in a sec. But this right here is sort of diddling in the middle, so to speak. I'm not really on low timeframes, looking to capitalize right here as we push into resistance.
Could you show me ETH BTC for a second? Because I think what I'm seeing based on price action is Bitcoin is actually looking fairly strong. ETH is now starting to slow down after a big move. Maybe we could expect this to reverse for a little bit, and then that could be the opportunity to look at accumulating, more ETH and alts. Yeah,
so this is something I brought up in my public stream last week. Also, we're starting to see bearish divergences form in this. So we're seeing momentum wane on awesome oscillator and the RSI. But if we actually go out to a wider time frame, this red zone I marked here is effectively where we're looking for, it's going to be a sticky point. I might have actually said that on your stream last week. But you can see, if you look at the volume profile here, let's just get rid of this for a sec. You can see it's the POC of the volume profile for the entire chart is this point right here. So obviously it's going to find some resistance there. You can also see, if we just go to line chart, makes it simple. You can see the amount of friction this level has had above and below since, even like we almost bounced there before losing it. Now we're giving it like an underside retest. So my thesis for ETH BTC and just ETH to outperform is to really flip this level with some gusto. We get above this and hold above it. Maybe we retest this high volume node as a support level. We just have all of this to clear out. I'm not saying that'll be an easy path. But,
then if you draw that July 2022 low, like that wick low, this is like, if you want to do a simple like range structure, that would be your mid range. That would, that's your range low,
this
and then
guy
range
here.
high is up
Yeah.
at that 2021 level. So that
Yeah.
would be the logical, like that actually might be the high for, because I don't know if ETH gets back to that 2021 high. That seems a bit far fetched for me with the Bitcoin narrative, but I definitely think the logical zone for this cycle and potentially the ETH BTC top is that mid range zone. But it depends it depends on what our momentum's like as we approach that, of course.
Look, this is a sticky point. This is a sticky point. But you got to imagine, like, ETH has been all anyone can talk about on this run up here. Imagine if it does flip this and does a move of that magnitude. There's going to be bananas for altcoins, for Ethereum. So and we start to flip that level, then bananas times 4. So we'll see. But yeah, this is
that would be
where I'm
insane.
expecting friction. The
second flip would be insane.
This is where we're expecting some friction, right? So the thesis for ETH stalling where it is, we have ETH, BTC, and ETH showing high time frame momentum shifts on momentum oscillators. It makes sense to sort of pump the brakes a bit here, and I think it's reflective as well. Reflective as well in things like the betas. So ENS, we're seeing a daily bear div across that. We're seeing it on Awesome Oscillator 2. That's also coming into a weekly level. If you've been following me lately, I'm just marking up my charts on like high time frame levels from monthly down to daily. We can see that rejection happens right there, so it makes sense. And with all these, a full momentum reset is basically this cooling off in the RSI and resetting at the 50 level. So that would line up with coming down to some of these key levels. And the same thing for ETH. We can go over a quick scenario. I really like this level here for a daily pullback if we get it. I actually don't think it will pull back this much, but we would need some sort of violence in the market to get there.
Please, if we go here, given my macro outlook on the market, I shared it with you guys yesterday. Watch that video. I think it's really good because I just simplify how I see capital rotating. But if this thesis plays out over a multi-month time frame and potentially multi-quarter, as I discussed yesterday, then any sort of dip like this would be an absolute gift to just get into the strongest quality alts that outperformed. You can actually keep it quite simple. Get into the strongest alts that outperformed prior on that initial run-up. Ethereum as well will probably be a great trade and probably deserve a decent chunk of your portfolio for that next leg up, ETH betas, etc. So, but I also don't think we get this if I'm being super analytical. But I the greedy part of me hopes we do. And a lot of people, if this happens, everyone would be saying the cycle's over. So just keep that in mind.
This is good. This will shake out the tourists. This is where people really capitulate their altcoins if we get down here. And this is where you can scoop up ETH beta at an amazing price. Like if you've been chasing ENA, if ETH gets down to here, you're going to be getting it at a great price. And also you can frame yourself as a trader, but what I try to teach people in the group all the time, you're actually a journalist, right? You got to picture that you're building a story and gathering evidence that you have to give to your editor for approval type thing. And when you're building that confluence or building your story, so to speak, you're just looking for, to build more and more points of why price can go down there. I won't get into VWAP too. We're also seeing I think it's quarterly or monthly VWAP comments to sell. We've got the 12-hour noodle lining up with the daily FVG. It's the 0.62 level from the impulse up. So it's the golden pocket on the Fibonacci. If we do get some sell-off like this, it'll shake a lot of people out. You get some great sells. Some great buys. But if we get a more shallow pullback, I am looking around the H12 noodle for potentially this demand down here. Now, I think this one's way more likely scenario. Maybe we run these lows. So I actually drew it out on the 4-hour.
And I would also long this. So I would have a plan. This is just me personally to, stack some altcoins there and, ETH betas, strong alts, ETH, and then have a plan as well. If we do go a bit lower to either maybe cut a percentage of those buys on a breakdown and then look to retarget lower or hold the rest and then have additional capital waiting to bid lower. So I would that's kind of my rough plan in terms of those two demand zones.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same. I think that was the deep pullback. This is the more shallow pullback if we get it. So if we lose the 4-hour noodle here, the trend is shifted. We've been holding the 4-hour noodle in every retest up. We have these this pocket of equal lows here. So what would be a really nice setup is coming down to the daily pivot level, SR level here, sweeping these lows we have stacked and then tagging into the 4-hour demand level. So that's the shallow pullback scenario. So one is like 3,400, 3,500, give or take. And the other deeper pullback is about 3,200. So that's what I'm watching. I think what will actually be a really good trap is what I'm watching for the over-exuberant market participant is to do a bearish 3 drive here. And this is my favorite reversal pattern. So it's basically where you get one high, second high, third high. And at the same time, like each of these is a sweep. So it's just sweeping the wick each time. And at the same time, RSI is just making lower highs on the way down. So it's diverging that. Now, I think what will actually be great if we could have a push up here, get everyone over exuberant to think we're making the next leg. We push up into that 4K level. We form this 3 drive with RSI continuing to sell off as so. And then we have the reversal there. And then it could make for actually a nice short back down to either the shallow or the deeper pullback level. You just judge it when price gets there. So that's also something I'm watching. Once, as I said, not much to do here, but I think, there's some very good long and short scenarios coming up depending on where price decides to go and what intel we get once it hits.
You said you were gonna, switch off a little bit next week. I don't know if you'll be able to. Might be a busy trading week.
Yeah, well, I'm going on holiday, but working holiday. But yeah, I'll be traveling a bit, so I'll do what I can. But yeah. Apart from that, another case I forgot to make before is BTC filled that weekend gap, with that weekly CME gap, which we just filled pretty much overnight. And now we're just starting to push up from it. So something else to watch. I forgot to make that as a thesis of BTC. But I suppose, what time is it? Got a bit of time. I'll cover Solana quickly. Solana's a simple one. I think that whole Sol ETH rotation play I was looking at last week didn't eventuate, but it gave a very clear signal with that. Like all we were looking for was Solana to flip this level, this weekly level we'd mapped out, and to clear the daily noodle. And it pumped straight into it and lets Sol break out, and bunch of Sol betas looking great and immediately rejected. So once again, that level's now proven itself. So really, I'm not looking to rotate anything into Sol from ETH until we do this, get that actual flip and confirmation.
And I do expect at some point this happens. Maybe that happens if the ETH 3 drive kind of breakdown scenario occurs. Then maybe that would be the trigger for Sol relative strength. But
exactly,
yeah,
it's just like
keep
chess,
your eye on that.
So many moving parts. You just have to be cognizant of at all times. That's why it helps to be super organized, your watch lists and just your alert systems and that. But Sol's just bracketing between a monthly and a daily pivot level. Sorry, monthly and daily pivot levels. I think it'll look stronger if it gets back up here. But if it doesn't, looking for it to come down and test the daily noodle in here. Maybe the daily noodle catches up and comes down to this daily level and forms a base. And we're looking for that to happen.
I'm finding Sol really hard to trade. This coin for me, I've pretty much avoided. I'm obviously holding some longer term, less than I used to because I swapped quite a bit for ETH and other alts at one point. But I'm struggling to get back on board because it's not giving me the setups. You know what I mean? It's kind of very choppy.
Yeah, well, anyone who trades the noodle like you do now as well, you look at all these retests, really easy, just bidding the trend. Now, trends with the noodle, you can bid on the uptrend. Then when price starts to chop through it, like it is now, it becomes inherently hard to trade and you have to switch the noodle off. It becomes a ranging scenario. Yeah. So, if you are a trend trader, this is why it's difficult to catch Sol at the moment because it's just chopping through and not showing any respect for the trend that was previously having respect. So Sol's not really on my radar at the moment. Not really. Maybe you can trade it intraday in between the range, but yeah.
It'll do well at some point. I'm sure at some point in the cycle, it's a very retail coin, big L1, big community. I'm sure it'll do well. It's just you just might have to have a bit of patience on it.
Indeed, yeah. I think there's better things to chase right now. What do you want to cover out of my list here as we have how much
Well, let's
time
talk
left?
About what's better to chase.
Yeah.
That would be a logical place to start.
I guess ENA is a good one.
Good fundamentally, strong narrative.
Yeah, so it had that bounce off the H12 noodle and the H12 FEG. We've now pushed up. We've left behind a new daily FEG. It's also a daily breaker in there. So all I'm looking for, 2 scenarios. I would love us to come down here, give some sort of retest around 0.55. If we push up from here, then it's just a level-to-level trade. So I'll look for acceptance above this level and take profit up here. Made the numbers big today so everyone can see it. But, reclaim 0.7, that's a long up into 0.81. Otherwise, looking for a pullback in 0.55. I just don't think we need to overthink ENA too much. It's giving, it's trading very cleanly, so we just keep trading.
I think one of my best trades of the cycle was swapping my pump for ENA and IGN.
Yeah, that was good. You timed that perfectly.
Yeah, very happy. I saved myself, genuinely, in terms of dollars, I say, that was a pretty significant save. I did sell half of my ENA, I think last Sunday, two Sundays ago, for 52 cents, but I kept half and, it's the other half's done well. So Pretty happy with that, but I would look for pullbacks. It's strong, good narrative. It's like ETH beta, stablecoin narrative, and reflexive to funding. So it's kind of ticking those 3 boxes.
Yeah,
which is why it's performing well. They have new
it's another one.
too.
Yeah, like ETH, ENS, ETH BTC, ENA, they're all printing these daily divs. So maybe there's time for a cool off. Maybe we start to see a rotation into something else. But for now it's showing more strength, so we'll rely on that. MOG I've got here because the other day when ETH pumped, money piled into this instead of PEPE. Generally, the betas, it piles into one or the other. This structurally looked a lot better than PEPE. PEPE was like dragging down. I think it was under like the 4-hour noodle. It lost that. So you can see very clean on the 4-hour noodle. PEPE was trending up, it lost it, and then started giving it bearish back tests. Whereas you look at MOG, MOG on the daily, I think it was. Yeah.
PEPE is very hard to trade. I find it impossible to trade. For me, it's just something I'm stacking spot on pullbacks. Pretty simple.
Yeah, fair enough.
Too difficult to trade.
Because it will do well eventually. We just know it will.
Yeah,
MOG was a more attractive setup because, we're coming into the daily noodle. We swept some key lows, did like the deviation reclaim of the range. We also had the stochastic resetting. I think it's why people piled into that, a bit more risk appetite, but obviously you can see it just didn't sustain. So I think alts are actually choppy at the moment and difficult to trade. And I actually think BTC is probably a lot cleaner to trade and what the focus should be on. ENS just wanted to show for the div. A couple of things on Sol we can look at if you are looking to trade it. I think PENGU makes for an interesting, intraday play. Get rid of this. It comes down to potentially this H4 demand, just because we have these equal highs up here that we can target. SPX,
I also want to ask you about USLESS in a minute because that had a big dip, but we'll chart that in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, can do. I think SPX is such a simple coin. You just need round psychological levels. Map out your $2, map out your $3. We saw the respect at $1. We can actually just mark those out quickly here.
It's because it's a normie coin, so it's a natural. Like when a coin is this normie, like Murad is literally shilling this on TikTok every day. When it's that normie, $1, $2, $3, $4. It's that simple.
And that's all you need in altcoins, and I love it. They're my favorite altcoins to trade because you don't even need to be technical. You be on mental holiday, and it just works for you. You can see at $1, we had this perfect wick below, bounced up. Where did we reject that? $2. We sold off there, got back above. I think if you're looking to buy this coin, you're looking to buy at $2, and you want to sell it at $3 if things really start.
Or you could even, everyone wants to buy 2, so maybe you front run at 2.05 and cut below if it starts looking weak.
Of course, I just didn't mention that. Yeah, I just didn't mention it because I don't want to be front run myself. I have to front run now. But yeah, always front run a level. I hear.
Are you going to go 207?
I'm hearing chatter about Murad saying he's going to sell all his SPX at $3. So wait to see the volatility up.
What chatter? Who said that?
Someone told me in the group today. I don't know if there's any validity to it, but apparently it's on Twitter at the moment. I haven't checked it yet. If he is, though, you can imagine that $3 level ain't getting.
I'm going to search this up. I don't think that's true.
I don't think
it's ridiculous for that to leak.
Yeah. Now, Altcoin looking hairy at the moment, but potentially could be a good play. So it lost this monthly pivot, which has been really well respected. It's just this monthly resistance here you can see. We go down to the daily. It's now testing this daily order block, demand, whatever you want to call it, after losing that pivot. So to me, this is a really simple one. Like obviously, it's just a clean range at the moment. We had the deviation below. We moved up. We rotated to the other side. We had a deviation to the high, pushed back down. Now you can see this monthly level on the chart is actually just the range EQ. All lines up together. So a very simple play for Altcoin. You can either bid some spot down here at this daily demand and look, anticipate it clearing this level. But for me, I'm just going to wait. I'm already in a position anyway from spot. But if we prove this is deviation by closing above this, I think it makes a more attractive long up into the highs again. I think Altcoin's another sort of normie coin where you can bid the $2 level. So I'm basically looking to take some profit once we hit $2. But yeah, I think it's just worth keeping on the radar now because it's trading quite cleanly. We just need to see how it reacts at this daily demand. BONK is another one.
I want to touch on the fundamentals of this. Pump Fund has been doing really badly in terms of new memes migrated. BONK has been 5 to 10x the daily volume in the past few days. So it's like it's the most popular playground right now. And I actually think there's a bit of alpha here for you guys. I was going to talk about this in a future video, but USLESS has run up aggressively. I think it's still going to be the leader. I think it can still go to $1 billion. first shared it with you guys at 50 on the AMA and then 80 on the YouTube video. So it's been one of my best trades, but I still think it'll go higher. But what I would be on the lookout for are the next BONK plays. I still think a lot of the eco is not that expensive, and a lot of them are pulling back now. I think these are logical things to stack, because when retail comes back, if your thesis is ETH breaks out and we eventually get another retail season, like I do, then I think BONK, given the fact it's like this period in the cycle's version of pump fund, a lot of the top BONK tokens are going to do quite well. So that's definitely an ecosystem I'm looking to have some decently heavy compared to the rest of my portfolio exposure to. So you can go into BONK and have a look at some of the top tokens there. I'm gonna do a full breakdown in a future video, but just a bit of alpha for you guys to get a head start on research.
Yep, I think the BONK chart looks pretty good. This is a clear monthly level where it rejected. As you can see, the amount of wicks above this every time. Once again, we rejected there. So obviously a bit of cool off after the move it had. But I think right now, like, BONK's a simple one. You want to see, it's just swept this key low here. So whether this was the low before we push up, I just want to see it reclaim this level up here. Currently long spot in it, not on perps. Might chase position to get above this. But yeah, above that monthly level, 0.034 is really good. Otherwise, I'd like to see maybe a sweep down into the daily noodle, which is also a daily FVG down there. So that'd be a really nice confluence point too. So once again, you got scenario 1, scenario 2. Never bank on just buying down here and refuse to bid if we close above levels. Like, that's not how you do it. You want to go with momentum if it's shown. You want to get the dip if you can. Either scenario shouldn't bother you which you get, because it's just a trade at the end of the day. But I think, yeah, BONK's a really good one. I just don't think this is the ideal place to buy. It's just consolidating. So you either want to sweep or you want a level reclaim.
Yeah, a daily sweep would be very nice. Very nice.
It would, yeah. I'd probably add more to my spot position there.
Right, that's my preferred scenario. I prefer dip scenarios to breakout scenarios, but let's see how it plays out.
Yeah, I mean, so do I. But for me, it's like, this is where I buy spot. This is where I'll chase perps. It's kind of a 1-2 play, depending.
Yeah.
BNB Eco I want to touch on. So I think Cake is looking really good. BNB made a new all-time high with some force, obviously. Like, that was an amazing push above. Yep. So we had that, and then we had the obvious beta, which is Cake. Now, Cake I really like, because this is a 200-day range, and we broke above it with some force, and we closed above it on the daily, which we haven't done since it formed. So what I really like right now, I was looking for a pullback in Cake. I really like right now that we've come back into the 4-hour noodle and the 4-hour FVG, also getting stochastic reset down here. If this wants to push up, it wants to push up from here, because if this starts to revert and come back down to the breakout level, I think this can effectively trade back inside, and this was just a big deviation.
Could you chart FLOKI for us as well? Because this is like the top BNB alt. I don't know if it's on your list, but maybe you could add it while I tell people why fundamentally BNB is running. Obviously, Binance has been propping it up. I think that's pretty clear based on PA. It just doesn't dip. But one of the things that also caused the pump on BNB and ecosystem alts is the new treasury company that launched that is buying BNB. So we're in this new treasury meta of like companies rebranding into like altcoin treasury companies, and it's working because they get a massive premium. And the latest one was for BNB. So that's why that repriced higher on that news. And then, a very logical way to play these treasury companies, apart from like longing the stock, is to actually just long the eco, which is where like the Cake trade comes in, the FLOKI trade, as we'll chart now, comes in. So that's like a way to play like the betas of these treasury announcements.
Yeah, I have been seeing that named a lot lately. Everything's a treasury company now. Yeah, FLOKI's good. Obviously rejected at this monthly level. You can see that big wick up, now threatening to close below it. Not actually that many days. Yeah, a couple of days to get the monthly close. So that'll be important. I think a lot of people are holding off. You generally see a dry up in volume from a lot of traders towards the end of the month. They sort of wait to see what the monthly open presents. And also we have FOMC tomorrow, I believe. So I think, maybe a partial reason why people are holding off a bit in the market. But for FLOKI itself, rejected at that weekly level, potentially holding this monthly level here. Yeah, I don't mind this. It has been giga strong. Obviously, that was it actually wasn't. I thought that'd be a divergence. But it's come down. It's tested the daily noodle. It's having a nice reaction. So first retest of the daily noodle since it broke above it on this leg up. So worth paying attention. I guess you just want to see it get above this monthly level and accept back up there. You've also got this little point of breakdown here, so it needs to flip that, like that supply level. But probably best to wait and see how the monthly close goes. And I'd probably advise that for many alts. We're not far off anyway. I think get above this, and this can trend up into the weekly level again at like 0.162, give or take.
Okay, definitely want to keep your eye.
Yeah. Last one covers USLESS because, I know it's not in the BNB Eco, but they did bridge to BSC. Yesterday it was. I think BONK was sharing on his Twitter. It had a nice...
They're bridging to all chains. I know they've got plans to bridge to Sui. They've got plans. So it's going to be... And I think BONK guy's been teasing a Binance listing as well.
Yeah, he said it's in the Binance Alpha Pool or something. I mean, it was convenient timing that BNB breaks out, Cake breaks out of a 200-day range, and all of a sudden, the bridge to BSC chain at the same time. So we saw that nice pump. It was like a 15% move, then immediately reverted overnight, sold back below the resistance level. This is now the deviation, but now we're coming into this H4 order block down here, this demand. So we really want to see that hold. 4-hour trend hasn't been that respected up here anymore. So I think, this lines up.
Yeah, 4-hour trend was good until like mid-July. Then it kind of started to get a bit rocky.
Yeah. So once again, if this wants to bottom, wants to be here, it's actually a daily demand if we stretch it across. Daily demand, and we're also testing the daily noodle. I think like USLESS, I'm not going to say this is where you want to bid it because we don't know, but like maybe you want to see a bit more of a reset in the stochastic, maybe the RSI to reset at the 50. I think where it is now, though, makes an attractive level to start looking at it.
You can start laddering to spot. I mean, I'm not perp trading this that much, so I am laddering into a bit more spot here, and then I'll look at if it takes a bit longer, I'll look at adding more if it goes lower. Pretty simple. I have more of like a multi-month outlook on this, so I'm fine to just bid big pullbacks, kind of like PEPE.
Yeah, I've been really stubborn. I'm waiting for a proper pullback, like a proper flush out to get on board, but I just might not get it. But that's all right. Got to hedge your bets where you can. I'd love to see like, I don't know, all of this taken out, flush right down here somewhere. This is where I look to pick it up. I just don't think it's going to happen. So we'll see. Might have to chase a breakout on perps instead of getting spot, but sometimes being stubborn pays. Last one I want to check is hype. This is just
in a boron being stubborn doesn't pay, but we're not in a crazy raging bull yet. I still think that might be a few months off.
Contextual, right? If we really start picking up and cooking, then I reserve all those thoughts of being stubborn. I generally just ate. Hype I really like at the moment, just because everything pumped and it continued to sell off. Obviously, it hit that $50 round level and just died, which is good. That's healthy. It's kind of like Ethereum right now. You want to see it cool off and have a nice pullback. You don't see things keep extending up. But I think this pullback's been pretty good, and it came into the daily noodle. Yeah, so it had a really nice bounce at daily noodle. Obviously, really good support on the way up. And if we go to the 4-hour time frame, I just like this is obviously a really nice pivot level. Now we're accepted under it. I just want to see this prove itself as deviation and break out above it. And so really like a two-pronged system here. We get above the 4-hour noodle, we get above the 4-hour diagonal, and we also get above the 4-hour horizontal resistance. I think the confluence point of those three, and that's me looking for a long to the upside, maybe into the local highs, maybe a bit higher. We break past the 50 level. So there's just things I'm watching currently. There's some other stuff too, more speculative stuff, but I think today's list is just covering, the main players across different ecos.
Yeah, and then on Thursday, we're going to have you back, right? Or are you
correct
traveling?
No, I'm traveling. I have to go to bed early that night, but I'm here for that show.
Nice. So we'll keep you guys updated on Thursday. If things move, I'll probably be doing a show tomorrow. I want to remind you guys that you can join the BitGet Comp link in the description. Even if you're not really a huge trader, if you are going to open any trades over the next 2 weeks at all, then it's better to be in the comp, because then you're going to be able to pick up and benefit if the team does well overall. And I'm going to be actively trading there. So link in the description below. You can claim some pretty insane prizes. It's one of their biggest prize pools ever. And of course, I'll also link the Mars High Club if you want to get the active trade setups from myself, Paradise, Fabian, Doc, Mara, and everyone over that next 2-week period. And hopefully for a lot longer if you find value in the group, which I think most people do. So yeah, I think that's that.
That's that. Guess I'll see you guys on Thursday. Thank you for joining.
See you on Thursday. I'll see you tomorrow, and catch you in the next one. Peace out.